Hi, I'm Alex Cario, the head of auditing operations here at Jones, the compliance solution for commercial real estate, construction, and the rest of the built world. Welcome to our insurance compliance video course. If you manage compliance for your company or collect and review COIs, this course is for you. In the previous chapters, we covered the basics of COIs, endorsements, and additional insurance. In this chapter, we're going to dive into property insurance. Property insurance is a type of insurance that covers the property of the policyholder in case there's damage. There's a common confusion between property insurance and the property component of liability insurance. However, they're different things. Property insurance is a first-person type of insurance. That means it covers my property as the policyholder. However, liability insurance covers third-party property damage. That means if I contribute to an accident through my actions or inactions, and I'm held liable for the property damage, general liability will cover that liability. It is not my property being damaged, but it is my insurance policy that covers it. So that being said, there's a common question of why would tenants and vendors be required to furnish property insurance? What interest does the landlord and property manager have in the vendor or tenant's own property? Well, the landlord does obtain property insurance of their own. The landlord is responsible for insuring the building. This is known as real property. Tenants and vendors, however, are responsible for insuring their personal property. Personal property insurance covers movable equipment and tools, furniture, anything that's mobile and not structural to the building. The vendor needs to insure his tools and equipment and other personal items because the landlord or property manager does not want to be held liable in case there's damage. Same thing goes for the property of tenants. Tenants are required to hold property insurance because if the tenant has property insurance and an accident damages the tenant's property, the landlord and or property manager do not need to worry about lawsuits where an insurer of the tenant is seeking recovery from the insurer of the landlord or property manager. There's many different places we can find evidence of property insurance. For one, we can find it on a standard Accord 25 COI. This COI is actually designed for liability insurance, but there's a blank row towards the bottom where property insurance is often noted. This is a miscellaneous box where anything can be written. So if you see the word property insurance, personal property, tools and equipment, or something of that sort, noting what type of property is covered, then you know that there is property insurance. We may also find evidence of property insurance on separate forms that are actually designed for evidencing property insurance. These include Accord 24, Accord 27, and an Accord 28. The format and the structure of these forms varies, but they all serve the same function and purpose: to evidence proof of property insurance. When we're looking for property insurance, there's three things that we're going to look for mainly. First, of course, we want to make sure that property insurance does indeed exist. So we're looking for the word property insurance or something relating to the type of property covered. Then we want to make sure that there's sufficient coverage. That means that the limits meet the requirements or exceed the requirements. If 1 million property insurance is required, 2 million would be sufficient, but 500,000 would not be. This would not be in compliance with insurance requirements. Lastly, we want to check the expiry date. If the expiration date has already passed, then there's no valid coverage to cover an accident that may occur. You want to make sure that the property insurance expiration date is in the future. Property insurance can be divided into three different types of forms depending on what kind of coverage is offered. These are basic form, broad form, and special form. We're going to take a look at special form in particular because special form is very often in property insurance requirements, whereas broad form and basic form are extremely rare. Special form property insurance is a type of property insurance that covers property against damage from any kind of risk that is not specifically excluded. If a risk is explicitly excluded, as flood, and earthquake damage often are, then it is not covered under special form. Anything that is not specifically listed in an exclusion, however, is by default covered by special form property insurance. Business interruption, also known as business income property insurance, is a type of extended coverage that sits on top of standard property insurance. It covers a business from risks that may disrupt the normal operations of that business. It covers the lost income that the business is losing as a result of the disruption. A good example would be COVID-19, forcing a business to shut down for an extended period. During this time, business interruption insurance covered many businesses from the income that they lost due to the disruption. In this chapter, we covered the basics of property insurance and the different types and forms of property insurance. The next chapter, we're going to look at common mistakes that property managers often make while reviewing COIs. See you there!